All right, hi everybody, welcome to episode 3 of What Do We Really Think? Well, today we're featuring John Moses Browning's 1911. We've got 3 different ones here. Of course, most of you is familiar with Sally, my 1911, which is basically an A1 with the exception I put a fiber optic sight on it. I put a ambidextrous safeties on it, and the Collier Gun Girls from a few years back sent me these G10 grips. So 1911, what can you say about 1911? Main thing comes to mind is the trigger. You just can't beat a 1911 trigger. Now all these guns have been checked. There's no ammunition in them, no magazine, and no ammunition anywhere around the table. Whoop, I lied. Nowhere around the table or on us. So these guns are safe. Of course, we're not going to be pointing them at each other anyway. But my think on the 1911, if the government just come out some draconian BS and says you're allowed 1 handgun, 1 rifle, 1 shotgun, what would you choose? Well, I would choose the 1911. Just because I love the platform, I love the way it shoots, I love the caliber, 45 caliber, and it's depending on the ammunition, of course, selection. There's so much different ammo out there. I wouldn't be afraid to use this on any small game or deer size and under, hogs. I think it would successfully, it might even take something bigger with a more powerful, maybe a heavier bullet for more penetration. But yeah, I just love the 1911s, and we've got 3 of them here. And of course, the standard manufacturing, this thing is absolutely beautiful with the case hardening. It's got a clear coat over it. All the steel parts has got the case hardening. The slide release and the safety, they have a deep blue luster to them, color to them, and they are just absolutely beautiful. And then of course we got the Prodigy, and we're going to turn it over to Dan to let him go through the Prodigy and the Standard and see what he really thinks.
Well, I'm a big fan of 1911s myself. I can't get enough of them. I speak highly of them all the time, and Don's right. It's that trigger and the overall mechanics that make them so reliable and accurate. And they're full size, but they've evolved in many ways, which drives the purists crazy. The traditional 1911, from when Browning designed it to what it has become, is completely different. And you can see here with the G10 grips, that's something a lot of people put on their 1911s. Fiber optic front sight or even a night sight. The barrel length. You look at this, it's a 5-inch barrel. All 3 of these have 5-inch barrels, but who knew back then they would come out with subcompact? You know, there was the commander size at 4 1/4 inch, right. But the subcompact was really something different. And then all the caliber offerings have changed. So you have this, pretend this was a bare bones. It does have a flat mainspring housing compared to the A1 with an arched mainspring housing. It has a skeletonized trigger, adjustable sights, all of which have been updated to something like this with the color case hardening. All right, this is a one of a kind. Now this does have the wood diamond checkering grips. Kind of seems weird that the custom one has the wood grips and the more original has the G10, but that's how it worked out in this case, a match grade barrel. But you could take the parts from either of these internally, everything from the recoil spring to the bushings, and swap them out and they would work just fine. But I think one of the things that's really lighting the internet on fire are double stack 9mm 1911s, and people are paying $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for a custom tuned 1911 double stack mag, in this case 20 rounds in 9mm. So here you have the all steel frame, that sweet trigger that Don talked about, and the full size 5-inch barrel that is also optic ready. It's really taken over the competition circuits. A lot of people are competing with them. They like the low recoil of the 9mm as it is. However, with a steel frame, big heavy gun like this, it's like nothing. It keeps you on target. This also has a fiber optic front sight if you didn't go with a red dot or a green dot or anything else. But here I've got a Bushnell RXM 300. Beautiful red dot on this DS Prodigy. If Brownie knew that the high power would eventually become a 1911, he'd be rolling in his grave, because it's never how it was intended. But the market decides that, not necessarily the manufacturer. The manufacturer moves to where the market's going, and right now this is it. But if you look at all the copies out there, you've got Turkish companies making 1911. You have South American countries making 1911. You have 1911s being copied all over the place. That tells us there's a huge market for 1911. So we're not the only ones out there that are 1911 fans. It's all over the world for the very reasons of accurate shooting, interchangeable parts, customization, and reliability. So they've seen the world wars, and they still perform to this day in a way that is so amazing. Now, this one's in 9mm. Am I talking too much? You want in on this?
No, go ahead.
Okay, you see them in 40, you see them in 10mm, you see them in multiple calibers, even 22s.
357 SIG.
357 SIG, and there are others. It's definitely not original. Original's 45, we know that. Subcompact 45s are available, subcompact 9mm. It's a platform that has expanded and evolved in ways that nobody saw coming, but a lot of people are chasing after. And right now this is all the rage, but I have a strong feeling that handguns like this are still selling and doing very well. So from one big fan of 1911s to the other, we love our guns, and we just look forward to see what's going to come next, because I don't think they're done, Don. I think they're going to continue to move in various directions, and the market will decide how well they sell, which will encourage the manufacturers to produce them.
Well, it's been living for over 100 years now, so
yeah.
When did the first one come out? 1917 or something like that? 1912? Whatever it was.
I'll say 1909.
Might have been.
It was before 1911.
It might have been, but anyway, it's survived the test of time, and it's probably only going to get bigger. Who knows? You never know what the market's going to dictate. But originally, this did have wood grips on it, but I didn't care for it. So I put a pair of black Packmeyer grips on it, and then the Collier Gun Girls sent me this, and that's what's decorating it now. The G10 grips.
Let me just say one more thing.
Sure.
The purists have learned to live with the G10 grips. They've learned to live with fiber optic and night sights. The red dots out of 1911, that's going to drive the traditionalists crazy, but I think it's here to stay. It's really become pretty commonplace in all handguns, and have even made their way to 1911s. And I would suggest anybody who is against it, give it a try. It just might win you over, because I tell you what, shooting this with this red dot is like cheating in a big way.
I've had the opportunity to shoot the Prodigy on 3 or 4 occasions, and it is a premium 1911. And for, let's face it, I'll be 74 years old here in a couple months. My eyes suck anymore. So that's why I put the fiber optic on this one. And I'm going to, on some of my guns, which you've already seen, like my Smith & Wesson 10mm got a red dot on it. The Beast has got a red dot on it. My Dagger's got a red dot on it. It's just something that these old eyes are got to get used to, but it takes a while. But I hold that up, there's that red dot right on top of that big old green fiber optic, and it's just a plus. It's all it is. And like the purists, if they don't want to jump on the bandwagon and still do it. I guess it's up to them, but anyway.
The rail too.
Yeah, the rail.
The railed 1911s and adding a light, you know, I think that's great for home defense. And so that's another evolution.
Well, that would be an ideal home defense gun. You got your light, plus you got an optic. I don't know if this one's optic or shake awake, but
it is.
You know, your Hollisons and stuff like that, you got a dot ready to go. And if the dot fails, most of them, like this one, I can see the rear and the front just fine with that red dot. So if the dot didn't work, it failed for some reason, you still got your sights. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed this. Of course, we appreciate any comments. Those of you that, you know, you're welcome to comment. And with that, I'm going to say if you like videos like this, hit that like, subscribe, and bell notification. Of course, appreciate a share. And comments definitely welcome. Let us know what you think. With that, we're going to say thanks for watching. God bless America and our armed forces, past and present.